Welcome back, YouTube. This is Rich again, and this video blog is going to be about my 16 favorite TV men meteorologists of all time. And this list are going to be my favorites, and most of it's going to be Boston TV centric because Boston television has had some legendary meteorologists over the years, but there's a few on this list who are national as well. But first, this message. Listen to Crystal's Time Machine each and every Friday and Saturday night from 9 to 11 p.m. on WCAP 980, where everybody gets it. And if you can't catch the show live, listen to the podcast exclusively on archive.org. Goes back to October 2015. Follow Crystal's Time Machine on various social media websites, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. And now on to the video blog. In compiling this list, I was thinking about having maybe my 20 or 24 favorite TV men meteorologists and TV women female meteorologists of all time, but that would be a very, very long list, and it would have probably taken me 25 to 30 minutes to complete. And before I get to the top 16, there's some honorable mentions I've got to mention. Who did not make this list, including Sam Champion, who was the chief meteorologist for ABC Good Morning America for many years. He's also appeared on the Weather Channel, and he still does weather on the ABC owned and operated station in New York City. And also Jim Cantori of the Weather Channel. And also some local meteorologists in the Boston area, Kevin Lemanowicz of Boston 25, the chief meteorologist, and former WBZ morning meteorologist Todd Gutner, who still does the weather. He's still on television. He's morning meteorologist for New Center, Maine, which is CSH Channel 6 and WLBZ Channel 2 in Bangor. They are sister stations. And also Pete Bouchard of NBC 10, who's the senior meteorologist for the NBC affiliate in Boston. It's owned and operated. And now here are the top 16. Number 16 on this list is Spencer Christensen, who's known for being the chief meteorologist for ABC's Good Morning America for 12 years between 1986 and 1998. He also did some national stuff. He hosted the revived version of the game show Triple Threat on BET in 1992 and 1993. He hosted a show on HGTV in the mid-90s called Wine Cellar. He's also appeared on PBS. He still works for ABC as the meteorologist for their owned and operated station in San Francisco, which he stayed on with Good Morning America many more years after 1998, but maybe he wanted to go to San Francisco. Number 15 on this list is Jeremy Reiner, who's the chief meteorologist of WHDH 7 News out of Boston. He's been with Channel 7 since 2006. Before that, he's been in Maine and Vermont. He's a graduate of Linden State College, which they graduated many many meteorologists from there who a lot of them have appeared on Boston television. It's a long list. I won't mention who it is, but you probably know who some of them are. Number 14 on this list is Ed Carroll, who was the chief meteorologist of WBZ TV4 from 1996 through 2005. He replaced Bruce Schwegler as the chief meteorologist, and many viewers did not really like that at all. But Bruce was, getting up. He wanted to step back, and I actually liked Ed. And he did a miraculous, he did a wonderful job as chief meteorologist of WBZ. There were a few times that they tried to get rid of him, but he still stayed on the air until 2005 when they ultimately did not renew his contract. He eventually worked for ABC 40 in Springfield, Massachusetts, which is now Western Massachusetts News. And I think he's out of the television business now. Number 13 on this list is Tim Kelly, who worked on WMUR Channel 9 in Manchester, WLNE Channel 6 in Providence, New Bedford. From 1992 to the early 2020s, he worked for NECN and NBC 10 first as the chief meteorologist for NECN, and he gave great weather forecasts. It was very, very popular. Number 12 on this list, as my favorite TV men meteorologist of all time, Bob Copeland, who worked for WCVB Channel 5 in Boston for over 20 years. And he actually started his career on WBZ TV in the 60s, eventually went to the old WHCH Channel 5, and that eventually became WCVB Channel 5. He was once the chief meteorologist at WCVB Channel 5. In like 1979, he became the weekday meteorologist. And Bob retired in 1993 up to New Hampshire. He's still alive and he's still active. He got a second career painting. Number 11 on this list is Mark Rosenthal. Mark worked for WCBB Channel 5 in Boston for many, many years. He actually interned under Bob Copeland, and Mark worked for WCBB until like early 2000s, and he did some fill-in work for NECN and also a couple of stations in Portland, Maine, and Providence, Rhode Island. Since the mid-2000s, he runs Weather Blast. And Mark also has appeared on commercials on the radio for many years for National Lumber. Number 10 on this list is Willard Scott, who for many, many years was the chief meteorologist for the Today Show. He was known for some wacky segments, and he also announced who was turning 100 years old. Willard passed away a couple of years ago. Number 9 on this list is Lloyd Lindsay Young, who was a meteorologist for many years for WWOR Channel 9 in New York. And he had an over-the-top style that was real popular. He actually made cameos in a couple of movies. And he was very, very great. And he should have, got a national job. Number 8 is Al Roker, who is currently the chief meteorologist for the Today Show. And he's been around for over 20 years, and he's, very popular. He appears a lot on the Today Show and other shows. Number 7 is Matt Noyce, who's the chief meteorologist for NBC 10 in Boston, and he also is on NECN, and he's been with them for over 20 years. I met him a few times, and he's a very, very good guy. And I remember one time he had like a weekend weather world when he was like doing a weekend shift on NECN, and I almost wanted to send a weather related sentence, but I couldn't figure out one. Number 6 on this list is Mike Wacom, who's been on Boston television for over 30 years. First as chief meteorologist of WLVI TV 56, and since 2006, he's been with WCVB, first as the weekend meteorologist and then the weeknight meteorologist. He's a legend in Boston. I'm very surprised they never named him like the chief meteorologist of WCVB Channel 5. Number 5 on this list is Barry Burbank, who graduated from University of Massachusetts Lowell. When he graduated, it was actually called Lowell State University, and he started his career in Maine on WCHSH Channel 6, which is now New Center, Maine. And from 1978 through 2020, Barry worked for WBZ TV 4 in Boston, and he missed the blizzard of 78 by 2 months. And that's one of his biggest regrets, not being on Boston television when the blizzard happened. And WBZ never named him chief meteorologist at any point of his 42-year career, which at some point they should have, but maybe he wasn't interested in it. He retired in 2020. Number 4 on this list is Dick Albert, who worked as the chief meteorologist for WCVB Channel 5 in Boston for close to 30 years. I liked the Albert's Almanac they did in the 1980s and the 1990s when newscasts were 1 hour long from 6 to 7 p.m. But they eventually phased the weather almanac out when, they had half-hour newscast, which that was kind of a bummer. Number 3 on this list is Bruce Schwegler, who worked for WBZ for 34 years. He was the chief meteorologist for 26 of them, and he had a very, very enthusiastic style, and he predicted many storms with rain and snow accurately. Number 2 on this list is Harvey Leonard, the Dean of Boston TV meteorologist. He started working in Boston on May 9, 1977, when Boston had a 9-inch snowstorm. He originally came from WPRI Channel 12 in Providence, New Bedford. And for 25 years, he was the chief meteorologist for Channel 7. And for 20 years, he was the chief meteorologist for WCBB Channel 5 in Boston. He's semi-retired now. He has a chief meteorologist and apprentice, meaning that he appears from time to time. And number 1 of my favorites, TV men meteorologist of all time, it's Al Kapuryan, who worked for many, many years on WNDS TV 50 out of Derry, New Hampshire, famous for saying good evening, and he had very enthusiastic, so much charisma. His forecasts were very, very entertaining, sometimes very wacky, and after TV 50 went off the air, Al stayed around doing weather forecast for radio in New Hampshire and Massachusetts. Currently, he does weather forecast for WCAP 980, where everybody gets it. High pressure! And that's about it. What did you think about this? Leave me a comment in your section. And the next one I'm going to do is the 16 of my favorite TV women meteorologists ever. Have a good night.